So let me ask you a question. If I asked you to tell me which of these Pokemon cards were fake, do you think you could do it? Well, in this video, I'm going over some of the best ways for you to spot a fake card so you don't get scammed. And I'll show you why one method is no longer an absolute guarantee. So I'll start with, in my opinion, is the most obvious, the Evolution's Nidoking. Now, if you take a close look at this card, you can see that the holo pattern extends over the whole face of the card, and you can see the stars here. And now, while that may be the first giveaway that I'm pointing out, it's not the only one. If we flip this over to the back, you can see how much paler the back of this card is. Now, if I grab a card from a similar era and compare it, you can see the back of this fake card is all wrong. So these are usually the first big signals that you'll look out for to spot fake cards. Improper holo patterns or colors. They're quite similar. But also, this fake card is extremely thin, and when you give it a light squeeze, it just bends a lot easier than a real card would. And with that, I'll move on to the next card, which I thought was pretty similar to the Nidoking and how easy it is to spot how fake it is. Now this one, the colors are bad again, especially on the back. Like, these are two very differently colored cards. And if I grab a Modern Energy card and compare it to them, you can see that both of them get nowhere close. And you may also notice that when I line these cards up on top of each other, this one sticks out a little bit more on the bottom. So does that mean this card is bigger than a normal card should be? Well, not quite. This Nidoking is actually smaller than a true card. And if we do that exact same thing with the Alakazam, it does seem that it might stick out just the tiniest bit. But besides size, something that we can look for is misspellings, or something that's super popular on fake cards is Pokemon without... What is that thing above the E called? Hey Siri, what is the thing above the E in Pokemon called? And this isn't for all of them, but quite a few, they won't have the acute accent card over Pokemon anywhere in the moves or the details of the Pokemon. You can also sometimes take a look at the set number, and it won't have either the correct set number or set symbol. Now next up, I have two first edition Shadowless Machamps. First off, I want to know what your guess would be down in the comments. Let me know which one you think is fake. I actually asked ChatGPT to figure it out, and it got it wrong. Now, if we take a close look at our cards, and we go based on the giveaways of the previous two cards that we looked at, we can give it a little squeeze test. Both of them feel quite firm. This one on the left might be a little bit thicker. You can see that the colors are wildly different though. So for this, you would just want to know what the color of the card is supposed to look like before you take a look at the card. And in this case, the correct coloring of the card would be this Machamp on the left. But if we slide this one out of the way and we take a closer look at the fake card here, you can see that the holo texture is confined to the box where the Pokemon is and not spread out over the rest of the card like the Nidoking was. And if we flip them over, you can see a difference between the shades of the cards. But those of you who have vintage cards may know that sometimes on the older cards, the coloring does vary slightly. So if we bring in that Modern Energy card again and compare, you can see that each of them are slightly different. And this one on the left, which is actually the real Machamp card, the red on its Pokeball is wildly different than the red on the fake and the energy. But if we compare the energy to the fake card, the colors are pretty similar. The blue on the fake is a bit more purple, but the reds are very close. Now this one is just a real first edition jungle card that I had, and I added them in. So I'm going to set this off with the other Machamp. Now this one is a bit of a hard one. I want you to choose which one is real and which one is fake. I can also flip them over for you so you can get a good look at each card's back. Now if you take note of the huge difference between the colors from this one to that one, and we compare these to the real jungle Nidoran and the real shadowless Machamp, this one on the left is clearly closer to the other real cards. And now one of the most well-known and sort of definitive tests when it comes to telling if a Pokemon card is fake is either the light test or the rip test. Because normally, fake cards, when they're printed, they're super thin because they're only on one layer. While real Pokemon cards, even from the old ones to the ones that they make now, they're printed on layers. There's a back layer, a black layer, and then the front of the card. But if we take this one and give it a tear, you'll see this is just printed on what looks to be cardboard. And if we do the same thing to this Nidoking, it sticks a little bit because of the hollow printing, but still white all the way through. Now if we take this fake Machoke though and give it a tear, that appears to be an imitation of the black layer. And if you're already subscribed to the channel, then you may have seen my other video where I bought a booster box of first edition shadowless cards that were fake from AliExpress for $85. That is where this one is from. And before you guys go and yell at me in the comments that I've accidentally ripped the wrong one, we'll give it a flip. And remember that on the shadowless card, this brighter, more vibrant red is the real one. And I'll also mention that to do the rip test, you never need to rip a Pokemon card. You can do the light test where you take your phone's flashlight and shine it through the back of the card. And it usually only comes through when you're right up against the back of the card because of that black layer. While in normal single layer fake cards, you can see it from farther back and you can see a lot more of the card. Like you can almost read all of Pokemon here. And another way that you can check for that middle back layer is it probably won't show up on camera, but by looking at the side of the card, you should be able to distinctly see different layers of the card. So that one goes into the real pile. So I want you guys to take a look at this Charmander. Now, based on the fact that it's a first edition shadowless Charmander, you might assume that it's fake right off the bat. But let's try to use what I've mentioned in this video to determine whether that's true or not. We're going to start on the front of this card and looking at it. It's not holographic, so checking for the holo pattern here isn't really going to give us any information. But if we take a look at each instance of Pokemon here, it does have the acute accent. It also has the appropriate set number. Charmander is 46 out of 102 in the original base set. Now, along with that, we're also going to look for other misspellings. And across this entire card, it doesn't seem that there's any misspelled words. But all of that can be kind of irrelevant if we just flip it over to the back. Now remember, if we compare it to a modern card, the blues aren't right, but it is a little closer to the modern color than the original color that it's supposed to have. And if you have the ability to take a close look at the D inside of the P on the back here. Now this is unique to any vintage cards that you might think are fake. And this won't actually help you identify newer era fake cards, but there's a specific print pattern inside of the D of the P on vintage cards only from I believe, the entire WotC era, where on this fake card, you can see sort of this hive pattern that's consistent. But on a real one, they'll kind of come together and make what kind of looks like a hatching pattern. Shout out to all of my people out there who took art class. And so if we go back to the question that I asked you at the start of this video, these two were the only real cards out of the 6 that were shown. The other Machamp, Nidoking, Alakazam, Machoke, and Charmander were all fake. And anyway, that's all I have for you guys in this video. I do hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, please feel free to hit that subscribe button to see more Pokemon card videos from me. And if you were interested in seeing what cards I got in that fake booster box from AliExpress, then I will have that linked in the description or in the card above, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, remember to catch them all. Oh, heck yeah! Snorlaxes must be weak against Teslas. I caught a Snorlax because I am so great!